Nev, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of people are very excited about Catfish. I got to ask you, first question here, how real is this movie?
The movie is completely real. It's a true-to-life documentary about the strangest, craziest thing that ever happened to me.
You watch the trailer for this movie, and it takes you down this adventure. You don't really know what happens. The trailer makes you want to see more. How much can we talk about this movie without giving too much away?
It's tough. We saw the trailer, and we thought, isn't there any way we can just tell people, go see it, trust us, you'll like it? But of course, you have to show somebody something when you're trying to convince them to see a film. It's hard to talk about because the movie is a roller coaster. It's got twists and turns, and we want the viewer to have the same experience that we had living it. So we try not to tell anybody anything, really.
What can a viewer expect walking into this movie and also leaving this film?
Well, you can expect like a comedy in some ways. There's a lot of fun moments. There's a road trip. There's some suspense, some pretty heavy suspense, and then eventually a really sort of breathtaking human drama. And the one thing I can promise is that when you leave the theater, you're going to be changed. You're going to feel things. You're going to want to talk about them. You're going to call your friends, and it'll change the way you really look at yourself and how you use the internet and communicate with your friends.
There's been other movies like this that say they're real, like The Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity, and it comes out that they aren't. What makes this different?
Well, the difference here is that, the big twist at the end is real life, and I think when you see it, and you see that there isn't some paranormal crazy thing, or there are no ghosts, and there's no axe murderer, you realize that life is scary, and that real life is sometimes, truth is stranger than fiction, and you couldn't write something like this. It just has to happen, and it happened to us.
Well, how did this all come together for you in terms of this experience itself and the fact that you guys decided to turn it into a documentary?
It all happened completely by accident. I share an office with my brother and his filmmaking partner, Henry. They have a little film production company. And for a few years, they've been making commercials and short documentaries and stuff like that. But a couple years ago, when I started getting messages from this 8-year-old girl in Michigan, this really sweet, charming girl, she told me she had seen my photograph of some ballet dancers in a newspaper, wanted to know if she could do a drawing of it. I said sure, and encouraged her. She sent it to me, and I got this painting in the mail. And my brother looked at me and said, "What is that?" And it was interesting and strange and sort of unusual. So over the next couple months, as I continued my pen pal relationship with Abby, this little girl, and her mother, Angela, my brother would just occasionally pull out his little HD camera from his pocket and record a minute or two. And then I started to meet the rest of their family, including the older sister, Megan, who was this very sexy, beautiful, smart, interesting young lady. And that's when the story got a little bit more interesting. And then after almost 9 months of sort of online dating with Megan, it was time to go. And the story took this really strange and sort of dark twist, and we weren't sure what we were going to find when we got there, but we just kept rolling and ended up with a movie.
You talked about how viewers' lives will be changed after seeing this. How different is your life now that this has come out?
I've had the most intense and emotional experience of my life made into a film, which is something I don't really recommend to people, but it changed who I am. And watching it and looking at it and talking about it has really been a very eye-opening experience. And as far as my use of the internet, without giving too much away, it certainly changed how I perceive myself and how I perceive others online. Because I think it's important that we all kind of reconsider just how much of ourselves we make accessible on the internet.
Well, I think everyone's really looking forward to seeing Catfish and seeing what all this buzz is about and actually seeing what the ending is going to bring. Nev, thanks a lot for chatting with us. Catfish is in select theaters right now.
Thank you.